What was it about psychology? I mean, you mentioned a few things that, everything was, they had great arguments and they had great ways of formulating um, ideas. But what was it about psychology that really switched you on?
Um, Being a people person, always been a people person. I just think I at the time just think that they seemed the psychologists that I would read, or particularly the ones I would listen to as well. Um, they seemed to be a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of their arguments. Because, like I mentioned, there were these African American, in particular, psychologists, and so I was listening to information from that world, a kind of like a liberation or a kind of social political consciousness, and but their arguments as clinical psychologists seem different to activists or people that were very passionate, meant well, trying to make transformation, but were just they're just that, like, passionate, maybe well read in history, maybe some of them maybe even professional historians, other academics, but this particular discipline, psychology, represented like a systematic way of approaching problems and impacting transformation, human transformation, yeah, self-development, these kind of things. So yeah,
And and
really
and
spoke to me.
and was that your sort of central ethos when you were working with the young offenders?
Yeah,
Transformation.
the power of transformation. I think one of my heroes is El Hajj Malik Shabazz, better known as Malcolm X, and one of the things about his story is the transformation. Is that this is like a you know person that lived on the fringes of of civility, and living by his wits and living in a different world, and just by the power of his will and just by motivation and having good counsel and instruction, but the power of the human being to transform themselves or to be transformed into like reinvent themselves in a really kind of like fundamental way, not in a superficial way, not talking image consultancy, but like a kind of core level, change their direction. I've always found that like very fascinating, very moving, and just something that I've that pulls me in, and even to this day. I mean, that I spoke about back in the mid 90s, but even to this day, there is always that. It never gets old. It's always a new theory, a new idea, a new thing that's in the world of psychology or human development or self development that always there's always something that I find stimulating.